For centuries, history has celebrated kings, emperors, and great generals. But hidden in the sands of West Africa lies the tale of a ruler so fierce, so brilliant in strategy, and so unmatched in courage that her very name became legend. This is not a queen who ruled from the safety of her palace. This is the warrior monarch who led armies into battle, expanded her empire with iron and fire, and reshaped the power of a vast African kingdom. Her name was Amina, Queen of Zazzau, the undefeated sword of the Hausa people. And today, we uncover the true story of the woman who conquered cities and carved her name into the chronicles of African history. Fade in. Drums, golden savanna sunrise, riders on horseback. The wind carries the whispers of a queen who lived for war and glory. Prologue. The land before Amina. Long before the arrival of colonial powers, long before European ships touched African shores, the region we now call northern Nigeria flourished with bustling trade cities, fortified walls, and ancient dynasties. It was the Hausa world, powerful, wealthy, and fiercely independent. Among the 7 great Hausa states, nestled between grasslands and caravan routes, stood the Kingdom of Zazzau, known today as Zaria. Here, life beat with the rhythm of commerce and conquest. Merchants rolled caravans laden with leather, gold, and salt to the great markets of the Sahara. Scholars recited scripture in mosques that echoed with knowledge and faith. And beyond the city walls stretched villages, farms, and warriors ever ready to defend the honor of their king or queen. Because in this land, greatness did not bow to gender, it bowed to strength. And soon, the greatest warrior the kingdom would ever know was about to rise. Child of power. The making of a warrior. Amina was born around the year 1533, the daughter of King Nekatu, ruler of Zazzau, and Queen Bakwa-Turunku, a woman remembered for her wisdom and diplomacy. From birth, Amina was groomed not simply to be royalty, but to master the arts of leadership and war. Where other princesses learned courtly manners, Amina demanded weapons. She studied the blade, the spear, and above all else, the horse, the beating heart of Hausa warfare. From childhood, she rode with the cavalry, learning to maneuver through fields and forests, spear in hand, hair whipping in the wind. She was fearless, restless, driven by something deep within her, a burning hunger not just to rule, but to conquer. When her father died, Amina's younger brother ascended to the throne. But make no mistake, even without the crown, Amina commanded power. She became leader of the Zazzau cavalry, the elite force that patrolled borders and subdued rivals. Warriors bowed to her. Nobles whispered her name with reverence and fear. Then, in 1576, the throne finally became hers. Amina, daughter of kings, horse lord of the north, rose to power. And she did not come to defend the kingdom. She came to conquer it. From the moment Amina secured the throne, she rejected complacency. While other rulers sought peace, she sharpened her sword. The kingdom around her simmered with threats: rival house estates, rebellious vassals, Fulani raiders, and jealous kings hungry for power.
Instead of waiting for danger to arrive at her gates, Amina struck first. Her coronation was barely finished when she summoned her army. Not a small retinue, but a force tens of thousands strong. Cavalry, infantry, archers, armor-clad horsemen glimmering like iron phantoms. Their battle drums rolled like thunder through the plains. For the next 34 years, Queen Amina rode at the front of her army, not behind shields, not from the safety of a tent, but in the dust and blood of battle. She fought with spear and dagger, armored in leather, commanding from horseback with a voice that cut through chaos like steel. Every conquest began with the same words: to enlarge the boundaries of Zazzau. Her campaign began with the neighboring city-state of Kano, a rival rich in culture, trade, and pride. Other kings might have negotiated. Amina did not negotiate when empire was at stake. Kano fell. The city paid tribute. Its warriors bent the knee. Her legend had begun. But Kano was only the first flame on the horizon, because Amina had set her eyes on something far grander: control of the trade arteries that connected West Africa. And to seize them, she would need to face enemies beyond her homeland, armies beyond her homeland, and kingdoms that had never before bowed to Zazzau. The queen would march, and the world would tremble. With each victory, Amina's army grew, not through force alone, but respect. Conquered warriors swore loyalty to her. Tribes allied for trade and protection. Caravan routes once threatened by bandits now found safe passage under the queen's command. She marched deeper into the Hausa heartlands, then west toward the Yoruba kingdoms, and north toward the Sahara trade roads. Town after town surrendered, fortress after fortress fell. It is said she conquered more land than any ruler in Hausa history. Her power was not only measured in territory, but in infrastructure. She ordered fortified walls around cities and military camps, Ganwara Amina, Amina's walls. High clay ramparts stretching across the landscape, symbols of security and dominion. Many still stand today, remnants of a queen's ambition baked in the African sun. Through her campaigns, she transformed Zazzau into a commercial and military superpower. Gold, salt, horses, leather, and metalwork flowed through her territory. Tribute poured in. Cities prospered. No ruler dared raise a hand against Zazzau, for the warrior queen would answer with iron. But behind her march was not only glory, it was sacrifice. Sons never returned home, fathers fell on distant soil. Yet her people followed willingly, for they believed in a destiny larger than themselves. A new Hausa greatness, forged by a woman who feared nothing but stagnation. In campfires across the savannah, soldiers whispered stories about her. Some said she possessed supernatural skill, blessed by ancestral spirits. Others claimed she could not be defeated, for fate itself protected her. Traders carried tales of her across the Sahara to the cities of North Africa and across the rivers to the Yoruba and Nupe realms. She ruled not as a queen behind walls, but as a general on the march. And here lies the truth that made her unique. Amina's power was not in birthright alone. It was earned. Through dust-filled rides, through bitter winter nights in makeshift camps, through spear clashes and trumpet calls. She was a ruler forged on battlefields, not on thrones. No empire rises without enemies, and no conqueror advances without resistance. While Amina's armies swept across territories, rivals plotted in silence. Some house estates burnt with jealousy, others feared domination. And beyond her frontiers, the Fulani and Tuareg watched, waiting for weakness. In the face of internal disputes, Amina enforced order with a steady hand. She did not tolerate rebellion. Her rule was absolute, not cruel, but firm. She demanded loyalty and service, but she rewarded loyalty richly. In her courts, leaders from distant lands swore fealty. Scholars taught in her cities. Merchants prospered. Farmers planted under the security of her walls. But history remembers not perfection, only greatness. And greatness often walks hand in hand with solitude. It is said that Amina never married, a queen who belonged to no man. She devoted herself entirely to sovereignty. Love, if it existed, was secondary to legacy. Power was her companion, empire was her passion, and war was her language. Yet with every mile gained, time moved forward, and even legends are mortal. Kingdoms rise, kingdoms fall, and the greatest warriors eventually ride into their final sunset. So how did the story of Queen Amina end? The truth is cloaked in mystery and myth. The end came not in palaces or ceremonies, but in the battlefield where she spent her life. Sometime around the year 1610, during yet another campaign to secure territory, Queen Amina drew her last breath. Some say she died in battle, sword raised, courage unchanged. Others claim she passed away in the war camp at Atagara, surrounded by loyal warriors, her final gaze on the empire she built through blood and brilliance. Her burial site remains unknown, lost to time, like so many warrior kings and conquerors. But perhaps it is fitting, for Amina does not rest in the ground. She lives in the earth she conquered, in the walls she built, and in the history she carved. Legacy, the Queen of the Hausa. Queen Amina's reign reshaped West Africa. Cities, trade networks, even military traditions bear her imprint. To the Hausa, she became a symbol of strength, courage, and unyielding ambition. Generations recited her deeds. Parents told daughters about her bravery. Men invoked her name with respect. She proved that greatness belongs not to gender, but to those willing to seize destiny with iron hands. She was a ruler, a commander, and a legend. And in a world that often forgets her heroines, her name endures. In Nigeria today,
Monuments honor her, streets bear her name. The world remembers her not as a queen who sat, but as a queen who rode. Queen Amina, the warrior who conquered cities, who lifted her empire to glory, who lived not simply as royalty, but as the embodiment of courage. She was the storm. She was the sword. She was the queen who would not bow, and history will remember her forever. Empires crumble, walls erode, battles fade into dust, but the spirit of those who dared to rise against the limits of their time, that survives. Amina's story reminds us the world is shaped by those who dare to claim it.